Hey everyone, Doug Campbell with Right Way Options, and I want to continue on with the series here on TC2000, how to use it, some of the different things you can do with it. Today, I know everyone wants to just jump right into scanning. I don't know why, but for some reason everybody thinks that writing the perfect scan is the way to get rich in trading. I will show to you as we go on in this series that that's really not true, that scans are very, very helpful, very, very useful. But don't spend your whole day messing around with scans. Your primary job as a trader is to continuously be looking for those new quality trades in trading. And sometimes scans is not the best way to do that. And I will show you that in the next video after this one on how to create a watch list and working from that watch list. So first off, let's start off with some of the basic concepts and scans in here. Now TC2000 has its own code that you can learn to write. It's actually not very difficult to learn how to write the code for TC2000. But it does take you a little bit of time. So to help you out, I've actually created, well, that's not true. I didn't create this. I'm just making this up for you. This is something that is on the Warden Brothers site on scans and scanning. And so right in here, you can see these are all kinds of programming scans that have already been created on patterns that you might be looking for in your in a scan. And so I put these all together here in this PDF and made it downloadable for you so you can go there quickly. It will be in the description of the video on the programming. And it's really not that hard to learn. And when you have some examples like this, it's actually fairly easily learned. So that's one of them. PCFs and patterns. And the next one that I have for you is this one here that is actual candlestick patterns. And this one might be a great place to start. You know, if you're looking for a doji candle, this is the programming code for a doji candle. Or if you're looking for, whatever you might be, here's candlestick patterns down here if you're looking for the abandoned baby or a belt hold or a breakaway, engulfing candle. You can put all of these together and learn a lot about the trading or the codes needed to write that pattern, and it's really not that tough. So those will be included in the description below. If you're interested in those, make sure you go download those and then you can save them on your computer and use that to help you with the programming of TC2000. However, you don't have to know the code anymore to do really great scans. You can program directly from the chart itself. So let's say, for example, I'm just going to go up here to this easy scan button and open it up, and I'm going to say a new condition. This is when we put in a new condition that we're going to write the scan. If we're going to write the code, I'm going to say new condition set. Okay, when I open this up, it brings up this window and it's going to ask you, what do you want to name this new condition set? And you can give it any name you want, or you don't even have to name it if you just want to do a quick search for something and then dump it. So for example, add a condition. Well, I always tell people that the first thing that you need to consider when you're writing a scan is first, there's no sense in looking at stocks that don't fit you, or looking for trades that don't fit you personally. So for example, you may have a price limiter. So just type in price, hit enter, and it's going to come up with this little box that you can work with. And in this box, it says price history. What's your criteria for price? And if you notice this little drop down arrow right here, gives you all kinds of things that you can do in searching for price. It's crossing up a certain price, it's crossing down, it's between a certain percentage, all kinds of things that you can do in here for the search. Now, what I normally do is I'm just looking for stocks that fit me personally. So let's say I have a criteria that, my account's not really big, I'm learning. I need to keep stocks that are below, let's say, $75 in price. And so I'm going to come up here and where it says greater than, I'm actually going to change that and say is between. And I'm going to look for stocks. I don't like to trade really cheap stocks. So I might put $3 in there. And then my maximum is $75. And time frame is on the daily. And all I have to do is say okay here. And that criteria drops into my scan. So now I'm only going to search for, if I run this scan, you'll find that every one of these charts in this list will be between $3 and $75. Every single one of them. And you can quickly, move through to find the charts that you want to find. Now, you also want to make sure and choose the list that you want to scan. You can see this automatically defaults to the High Cap 1000. Click that little down arrow right there. When you do that, you can pick from any of these lists that you want to scan for that criteria. And what I like to do is come over here and I like to get all US stocks. So you can see stocks between $3 and $75. We've got 3,574 companies that fit their criteria. Probably not a list that you want to be looking through. That's an awful lot of stocks to look through. So we need to continue to refine this scan. So I'm going to click right here on this little funnel type icon right here, and it opens my scan back up, and it says, so what else do you want to add to this? Well, I'm going to take and add another condition, and that condition is volume. I like to look for stocks that have pretty substantial volume. It's very typical I'm looking for stocks that have over 1 million shares in volume, but maybe you don't want to go that high. You might want to look at something a little bit lower. So let's say greater than 700,000 in volume. So we're looking for pretty sizable volume to be occurring. Now this is on a daily basis. You can adjust those if you want by clicking those. But we're looking for good solid volume daily. Now you can actually create a PCF or a code that says, hey, I want an average volume of 700,000 over 90 days or 30 days or something like that. If you're looking for something that's holding consistent volume over a period of time. I usually do something simple like this, and I keep it really simple in most of my scans. And so I'll just select that. So you can see now our two criteria in this scan is prices between 3 and 75, and their volume has to be greater than 700,000. If I run that scan again, you can see that dropped us from over 3,400 charts down to 854. Still, probably much more than you want to try to sort through. So let's do something else. Let's say, one of your requirements in trading is that the stock must be above the 50-day moving average. Well, if you have the 50-day moving average on your chart right here, then all we have to do is we have to set a criteria to do that, and we can program that directly from the chart. Now we could choose the 50-day moving average here and create a scan condition from the 50-day, but what we're really talking about is we want price to be above the 50-day moving average. So I'm going to come over here to price. This is the stock symbol itself. It's what this is the first thing that we're basing all of our moving averages against. And I'm going to click on this, and right down here it says create a scan condition. Notice that funnel type icon is right there. So we're going to click on create a scan condition. And in that scan condition, I want price to be greater than or above the 50-day moving average. So you can see right here where we've got this symbol that says, or this condition, greater than, it's asking us to put a value in. I don't want to do that. I'm going to click this down arrow. And when I do that, it brings up this list. Okay, this is all the different things that you can program directly from your chart. So I'm going to run down here and look, and right here it says price versus 50-day moving average. So right here I can have the price just crossing up through the 50, just crossing down through the 50. I can have it above the moving average 50 or below the moving average 50. Well, I'm looking for stocks that are above the 50-day moving average, so I'm going to click on that. And once I do that, now my coding is, my programming is all done. I just have to tell them where I want it to go. So I'm going to click this Add To button. When I click that Add To button, what it's going to do is it's going to put up that target mode again. It says, where do you want that condition to go? What list do you want that to be attached to? Well, this is the active list I'm working on right now. So I'm going to add this to the conditions of the scan. Okay. Click on that and it automatically reruns the scan. And notice we're down to 414 stocks. So we know price is above the 50-day moving average in every one of these charts that we look for. Okay. Actually, very nice chart right there. So price is always going to be above that 50-day moving average as we're looking for those trades. Okay. Now, what if we have an indicator that we like, an indicator that gives us some confirmation of trend or something along those lines, and we want to include that indicator in as part of our scan? Well, I use this balance of power. It's almost on, it's on most of my charts, and it's not something, it's not a buy sell indicator in any way. It's just something that's a confirming indicator. And if you look at the balance of power, it's plotted on a histogram, and anything above the zero line is considered positive. Anything below the zero line is considered negative. If it turns green here, green is showing good buying happening in the stock, and so it becomes very, very bullish or positive. Red is bearish, and by the way, it turns green at 30. If you go to 30 here, it turns green. It turns red at 30. And anything marked here is yellow. And by the way, you can make these colors anything you want by editing the balance of power. If we were to right click on this and say edit, we can change any of the colors of this indicator, change the plot opacity, you know, all kinds of things. Notice the data source is the price history. You could plot this around something else if you chose to. So, and I've set this as a histogram. Okay. So you can change those price colors and things around as you want. But what we want to do is we want to include balance of power in this scan. So the easiest way to do that without knowing any of the programming code is to just right click on balance of power, click on create a scan condition. And in that scan condition, here again, we have that drop down. We want it greater than a certain price. Well, we know because it turns green at 30, I'm going to place in here that I want it greater than 29. If it's greater than 29, it's 30, and it turns green at 30. So greater than 29, and I'm going to say add to, click on add to, and I'm going to drop it right in here in my scan. And if I hit add to the conditions, then it's automatically going to scan. And you can see that brings this list down to 81 stocks. And I can promise you every single one of these is going to fit these criteria, that the stock is between $3 and $75, that the stock is going to have a volume of over 700,000, the stock is going to have a price above the 50-day moving average, and we're going to see that the balance of power is green. Buyers stepping in there. So that's how easy it is to create a scan. And you can use any indicator, any combination of indicators to identify a chart or a trade or a pattern that you like. And you can see right here, we can click on the scan, we can see all those conditions in there. And if we wanted something different, we don't want this particular setup, it didn't work like we'd hoped, all we have to do is click the X button and remove it from the scan and rescan. And then add in any other condition that we might want for the trade. Let's say, for example, we want stocks that are above the 50-day moving average, but below the 200-day moving average. And what that is a stock that's kind of coming up out of a bottom. It's been bottoming for a while. Stock popped above the 50-day moving average, but the 200-day moving average is still above. So it's coming up out of the bottom when you can get those nice momentum moves up. Well, we could just real easily then do another addition to this scan, and we're just going to go back here to price. We're going to click on price, and we're going to create a scan condition. But this time, instead of the 50-day moving average, we're going to look for the 200-day moving average in this drop down. We look down here and we scan or look through here, and we've got the 200-day moving average. And so we want stocks that are above the 50-day moving average, but below the 200-day moving average. And so we click on that and just add it to this condition set. And you can see we've quickly scanned that list. We're back down to 86, and we're looking at stocks that are above the 50-day moving average and below the 200-day moving average, with nice volume, with in the price range that we want them to be, so that we're not doing anything in here that doesn't fit us. There's no point in looking at stocks that don't fit you personally. So from this, what I recommend is when you run scans like this, is use this list to create a watch list of good quality stocks. If we're constantly running scans, the scans are always changing the stocks that are in them. It's kind of like we're chasing our tail when we run scans all the time. What we want to do is take those good quality symbols that we find here and put those into a watch list. And from that watch list, we can monitor those stocks and wait for the entries on those trades. So scanning should get you to a point where you build a good quality watch list of stocks that you want to search. Okay. Now let's go one step further when it comes to scanning, and I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of this. I don't need it. One thing more that we can do when it comes to scanning, let's say we just want to look at a specific sector or a specific area of the market. So for example, if I wanted to look at the SPY, and I want to see all of the stocks in the SPY that are above the 50-day moving average. Well, another really powerful tool in TC2000, and I think it's even more powerful than the scan itself, is to be able to sort a watch list by a criteria. So for example, I'm going to pull up all the stocks in the S&P 500 just by, I'm going to do that again because I didn't explain it. This little icon right here, anything that's a component that's made up of different stocks, okay, is going to have this icon here. And I can click that icon and bring up every single thing that makes up the S&P 500. Just that quickly, I have a list of that. Now I want to see how many of these stocks are trending above the 50-day moving average. So all I have to do is I'm going to come back over here and do that same operation that we did before. I'm going to click on the price of the SPY. I'm going to say create a condition. Instead of greater than, I'm going to open up this list, and I'm looking at price is above the 50-day moving average. So here's my 50-day moving average. Price is above the 50-day moving average. But instead of adding it to a scan, I'm going to do this. If I click Add To, you can see right here I can add a column and to sort this list. So if I click on Sort, okay, notice it automatically sorts this S&P 500 list by only the stocks that are above the 50-day moving average. And if I scroll down here and we look for where those check marks end, good deal of the 50-day moving, or right here. That means there's 344 companies in the S&P 500 that are currently above the 50-day moving average. Very awesome to be able to sort a list by a specific criteria and be able to get to those trades that are trending or looking the way you want them to look in a chart. How cool is that? Awesome. Awesome. The power of sorting a list. And you can do that with any criteria. If I want green balance of power, I can do the same thing here. I can click on that, create that scan condition. Again, I'm going to move this because we want greater than, right? I don't need any of these. I want greater than to know that it's green. I'm going to say greater than 29. I'm going to add this to, and I'm going to put it, instead of putting it in a scan, I'm going to put it over here as a sort to this list. And notice that we've just created another column in this list. And now it's all automatically sorted. And I can see that RCL not only is moving above the 50-day moving average and is above, it has green balance of power coming into the trade. And all of these charts will look exactly like that. All of those conditions will be met. So you can take a list like this and you can quickly sort down. Now in the next video, I'm going to teach you how to build a really cool sort from a watch list with different criterias and things like that. But that was just to give you a highlight of what could be done in making that happen. Okay. Now, one of the things that is really important to me in trading is I want to see stocks that are trending. And so I tend to use this 34 exponential moving average. The 34 exponential moving average moving up 20 days in a row is one of those indicators that gives me trending stocks. Now you could choose to try and program that from this, but what I'm going to do is also in the description today, I'm going to give you this scan code that I've written for stocks trending up. Okay. The 34 exponential moving average trending up 20 days. Okay. And if you look at this scan code, there's really nothing fancy about this scan code. It's just a math equation, really, with the description of what we're looking for. So this is saying exponential average, X average, the close of the 34 20 days ago is less than the exponential moving average 34 of 15 days ago. And that the exponential moving average of 15 days ago of the 34 is less than the 50-day moving average 10 days ago. So all it's doing is looking for that 34 exponential moving average moving up. That's all. It's nothing fancy about that code. But I'm going to place this as in the description of the video so you can have your first scan code on this and create your own little scan from that. So with that in mind, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you put that scan code into your system so that it's always there. Okay. So first thing you're going to do is open up or highlight and copy this scan code. Now I'm just going to post the scan code. It won't be in a PDF or anything. I'm just going to post it in the description. So all you'll have to do is highlight it. Just take your left mouse button and highlight that. And then what you're going to want to do is copy this. Now, if you don't know how to do a capture like this is something that you really need to learn as anyone that uses a computer. It's very, very handy. Use your control button, push one button down, hold the control button down, and then hold the C button. Control C will copy this to your clipboard. Okay, so now that code has been copied. All right. And you can just really easily, again, highlight this. Try to make sure you don't pick up any additional spaces. If you pick up additional spaces, you might have some trouble making the scan code work. Trust me, the scan code works. Okay. So Control C, copies. Okay. So after we copy that scan to our clipboard, then we're going to go right here to our Easy Scan button. We're going to click on Easy Scan and we're going to click on New Condition, and we're going to go to Write a New Condition Formula. And let's give this formula a name. Let's call it the 34 EMA Trending. And you might want to say trending 20 days, just so it's a nice description. And then I'm going to put in here demo, so that I can see it's something I created for the class. We're going to click in this box right here and hit Control V. Control V is going to copy that code right back into the system. And then once that's in, you can see it comes up here, calculation speed minimum or medium, and it's running this test against Microsoft. Now you can run a test against anything, but if this doesn't work, if you've picked up an extra character, this is going to come up and say error. There's an error in the code. If we click test, you can see it runs this test and it says value is true. So this test does work. And so now we've created a new condition that we can now save to our library. So I'm just going to go ahead and click save. Okay. And here's the name that it's going to have, and I'm going to say to save it. So now that's saved in our personal library. Okay, so all we have to do if we're looking to create a scan based on that 34 exponential moving average trending 20 days is we can come up here, Easy Scan, New Condition Set. Okay, so we're going to bring up that condition set. We're going to start typing in here the name, right here, the name of our new condition that we just saved. So I'm going to say 34, and notice it pops right up here. I've got a couple of them in here on that. So I'm just going to click to open that up, and you can see that that condition is now in the scan. If I click the scan button, you can see all of these charts in here are going to be stocks that are trending above the 34 EMA. That 34 EMA has been trending 20 days. And so from here, this is where we would do our things like our price limiter. We want, a new scan condition here for our price limiter. We want stocks that are between, let's say we do this one, we do something here where they're between $5 and $50. Okay, between 5 and 50, and we want to add in some volume in here. Take that volume, and let's say this we want to have volume greater than 500,000. Okay, and then we just hit scan, and that scan you can see comes up with 233 stocks, and we can see in that 233 that all of these stocks in this list are doing exactly what we want. The 34 EMA is trending 20 days in price. So we're looking really, really good here on the scan, and we've narrowed this down significantly in our trade on how things are looking. We know all of these stocks that the 34 exponential has been trending up 20 days. So you can do all kinds of things like that with TC2000 and create all kinds of scans. Now, if you find a scan, if this is something that you want to hold on to, then what you need to do is save this scan. But you can give that scan a name and then just continuously bring it up over and over and over in TC2000, so you never have to recreate the scan again. So with that, everyone, hey, I hope you got something out of this video. This is getting just a little bit long in time, so I want to cut it down. Next time what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend some time showing you how to use watch lists effectively, how you can increase your efficiency of your trading by using watch list and watch list sorts. All right. So, hey, everyone, have an awesome, awesome day. Hope you got something out of this, and we'll talk to you all very, very soon. Take care now.